What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to contact me, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to talk about this new self-titled release from Vince Staples. Vince Staples is a rapper who's coming out of Compton, California. And just like I said in my last Tyler the Creator review, I'm always looking forward to Vince's music because he's not afraid to try new things. For just a couple of examples, his debut, Summertime '06, had gloomy vibes as he got into some street narrative and storytelling. Then with Big Fish Theory, he got extra experimental, crafting an album that didn't sound like anything else out there. And lastly, with FM, that one dropped in 2018, we were just getting a bunch of fun bangers with a radio host theme tied into it. He has a lot of other projects, obviously. I'm not going to break all of them down, but anyone who follows Vince's career knows that he doesn't like to do the same thing every time. Now, the lead single for this album is called Law of Averages. It came out a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, that one didn't do too much to get me excited for this project. I didn't think it was trash, I just thought it was kind of plain and not strong enough for a lead single. If you want my full breakdown on that, you can check episode 26 of my series, The Rundown, but I did like pretty much everything else happening here, so this isn't one of those instances where one track ruins a project or I'm jumping to skip it when it comes on. It's just my least favorite out of the bunch. Now, when it comes to the production here, it's all handled by Kenny Beats, who came through with a very cohesive sound that makes use of smooth vibes and big bass. Naturally, Vince matches up this production by working some smooth flows, and the sound of this project overall, just the vibe of it, is so enjoyable. I think on a surface listen, you might think he's not saying a lot, but as you continue to listen, this project is going to grow on you, and you are going to pick up on plenty of themes and content, which I will get into momentarily. But I want to start off with that first song, Are You With That? Vince is working some very melodic flows here over an aquatic, dreamy backdrop as he reminisces on his past and how he always wanted to be a thug. I thought this was kind of interesting as an intro track because it lets you know that Vince is doing something a little bit different here. He doesn't usually make this style of track, not very often, so this was something that was showing you the direction of this project, and it does stay true as you listen through. There's also some nice lines on here, like when he says, "Everybody tough till they gotta go and see the judge." We all know how that is. People are out here fucking up, doing crimes, doing all this tough guy shit, but then sometimes you'll see them crying once the pressure's on, once they're in front of the judge, or if you watch First 48, where you get people in there and at the start they're like, "I ain't talking, I ain't saying nothing." Then they offer them an ice cream sundae or some shit, and they're spilling all the beans. They're like, "Yeah, that was Troy. He did that shit right down there. I'll give you his address. Oh, by the way, his cousin's bad too. He's selling drugs as well." But to get into the content that I mentioned, you will pick up on themes of paranoia and nostalgia as you listen through this project. Like on Sundown Town, where Vince goes into a lot of detail about growing up amongst violence, missing his rent, and facing plenty of other shortcomings. I especially liked when he spit these lines. "Hanging on them corners, same as hanging from a ceiling fan. When I see my fans, I'm too paranoid to shake their hands." I think this really brings together his understanding of the dangers in the streets, as well as the trauma that he's suffered, and how it's still there with him. You know, he's just dealing with all this shit that he's gone through in his past, and he knows that life can be over in the blink of an eye. Maybe an enemy from the past is going to show up at one of these fan events, or someone is going to come get you. I understand what he's saying there, and I thought that was a very powerful moment. And I did like the production on here as well, because it's very breezy and built around some soft vocals. But one of the moments that hit me the hardest lyrically on this album comes on the song Take Me Home. You're going to hear Vince on here rapping about how he drives around with his music turned up just to drown out the sounds of the violence, and also because when it's too quiet and he's out there in the streets, it's almost as if he can hear people who passed away speaking to him. I thought this was a very haunting line, so he's kind of getting into how the music helps keep him grounded, because sometimes when it's too quiet, when you're sitting there in silence, especially in certain situations or certain places, it's almost overwhelming, all the things that you're thinking about and seeing, visualizing. So I thought that was a really great moment there, and you're going to get a lot of this stuff throughout this project. Like I said, the themes to me are paranoia as well as nostalgia, because he's often looking back and getting introspective. He really just works a lot of different ideas into this project, and that makes it work well, because it's one of these ones where it's very short on the surface. With that first listen, you're not going to think he's saying a whole lot, but the more you go into it, the more you are going to pick up on these lines, and you're going to get into his mind state and inner struggles. The Shining is yet another great track. On this one, Vince is rapping about the streets sucking in the youngins who would rather be out there putting in work than doing something honest like flipping burgers. And even though the production on this one doesn't get too intricate or adventurous, the bass is thicker than Yum the Boss, so it is really going to work for you as a trunk slapper. In fact, I feel like this project rides very smoothly, man. You put this on in your car, especially at night, you're going to get a lot of those driving and thinking vibes. It's the same type of vibe on Taking Trips. This beat is just so hazy and smooth. I really like this one. And Vince is on here spitting about his hatred for July because the crime rate goes up. He even says that he can't go to the beach without keeping his heat in his trunks, which I thought was pretty funny to think about, man. Just imagine someone trying to smuggle an Uzi in their Speedos, or maybe they're wearing that fluorescent green bathing suit from Borat with an AK-47 stuck in the back just hanging out there. You would look pretty crazy with your gun in there, just stuffing it in. Lastly, we have Lil Fade and and these tracks don't have too much to break down lyrically, but Vince is working some really catchy flows on these tracks, so they just work really well. I also think they have a lot of bang and bounce to them as far as the production goes, so no track on here really feels out of place. Like I said, law of averages, that's my least favorite track, but I don't think it's garbage. Everything else here I pretty much like just for the production and also the little tidbits he's putting in there about his life and experiences. So this is a great project to me, man. It's short, it's cohesive, it gets straight to the point. It's not one of these overstuffed projects that then comes out with a deluxe edition that's even more overstuffed. I really appreciate this from Vince. And you know, on the first listen or two, as I said, just on the surface, I felt like there wasn't a whole lot here. The sound wasn't too adventurous. I didn't pick up on all the stuff that he was saying, but the more I listen to it, the better it gets. I fuck with this one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I do think some more meat here would have helped elevate it, you know, if he went a little bit more in depth, maybe added a bit more to the runtime. But overall, I like this, man. It might be a short project, but I like pretty much every track. I can put it on repeat. I can have it in rotation over and over. I'm not getting sick of it. I'm listening to it a lot. So I'm really curious to hear what your guys' opinion is on this, because I have seen people getting a bit divisive over it, and I would understand if people weren't that impressed with this, because I wasn't that impressed on my first listen. But it is what it is, man. Sometimes these projects grow on you, and you just appreciate them for what they are. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up here. Can't wait to hear what you guys think, so make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.